Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a fantastic Mother's Day weekend. I am coming at you live from my kitchen because I'm going to show you what's in my fridge today. And the topic of today's live is meal planning / meal prepping. And I think that this is one of the most important things. Everything's important, isn't it? But one of the most important things that you can do to stay on track is to have a plan. And that goes with everything, right? Getting your workouts in, prepping your food for one, scheduling your walks, scheduling all your appointments, but planning meal prepping is such a life changer. And in my opinion, and some of you will probably agree with me, it saves you time. And this is one of the biggest complaints, can I call it a complaint or a struggle, that people say they just don't have time. Yet, we all eat. Every single day, we eat. Whether that's 6 times a day or once a day, you are going to be preparing some food. And I say that, maybe you're going through the drive-thru, but you're probably not the healthiest individual. So this meal prep guide that I have in front of me, I am going to share it with you to help make things a little bit easier. And I created this quite a while back, but I want to share it with you all. And reasons to meal prep. It does improve time management. When you can put aside an hour to 2 hours once or twice a week to get a menu planned, even if it's not even prepping the food, and I said like 1 to 2 hours to meal plan, it's not going to take you that long, but maybe to prep your food, it is going to take you that long. And it just frees up time during your week if you've got kids' activities or you're working late or whatever it might be. It frees up space in your brain. I think we were just so overstimulated. We've got so much on our plate, no pun intended, because we're talking about food here, that setting aside time to do this, I think you get the drift here. So important. It also helps you to stay on track. If you have goals to lose body fat, which I know a lot of people do, but even if your goal is just to have more energy, to have balanced hormones, to have better digestion, to just feel healthier, then having food prepared, again, after a busy, stressful, chaotic day, when you can just open your refrigerator and have food at your fingertips, so much easier to stay on track. It helps with portion control. If you are in my program and you are tracking macros, tracking your protein, even if you're following a meal plan, the portions, of course, are on the meal plan. If you're tracking macros, you know what you have to eat personally to hit your specific goals, and it just helps you with portion control. It also helps you save money. I've had several clients tell me that because they've spent the money, they have the food prepared, if they think about going through the drive-thru, like, oh no, wait, I have food prepped in my refrigerator. I just have to go home, put it together, heat it up. It's going to take 5 minutes. And you're more likely to eat that food that you've had prepared. And it also helps you to win the mental game. And I've said this already. It helps you prepare for the week. It frees up time. It frees up mental space in your brain so that you can do other things that are important to you. So I'm going to open up my fridge and show you ultimately what I do. And I think that an important part of prepping food is to batch cook. And let me bring you a little bit closer to my fridge, is to batch cook ingredients. So instead of planning like specific meals, is that you have batch cooked food. So we always have a ton of eggs. I've got chicken batch cooked here. We've got some grapes in the back. In here, what do I have in here? Oh, we've got some leftover potato salad that I made yesterday. Down here, I've got grilled zucchini. I've got burgers made. We've got some beef brisket. We've got baby potatoes. I've got just regular taco ground beef. I've got a little bit of rice left over. This is actually my dog's. She wasn't feeling well, so she was getting fed some rice. But just having these ingredients prepped, I can then put together different meal combinations, if that makes sense. I've got some carrots because I eat a raw carrot every single day. It's really, really good for your digestive health and also really good for actually binding to toxins, binding to excess hormones and getting that out of your system. This is Rob's drawer here. He loves this cheese. And we've got some turkey pepperoni sticks. I'll eat these on occasion when I'm in a pinch, but not super often. And then last but not least, I've just got some different, I guess this would be our produce drawer. So we've got some oranges, zucchini, avocados, apples, lemon and limes. I've got bananas and pineapple on my counter over there. But like potatoes, for example, super versatile, in my opinion. I will have these for breakfast, pan fried. I don't eat a ton of bread. And you might notice that just from the foods that the meals that I post on social media. I don't post a lot of meals with bread because I don't eat a lot of gluten. Even gluten-free products, in my opinion, have a lot of ingredients and they're not always the best. I feel best myself eating whole, nutrient-dense foods that don't really have a ton of ingredients as you're gathering here. Potatoes, it's potatoes. Ground beef, it's ground beef, right? You get my drift here. Same thing with everything else that I have. Like if I were to pick up ketchup, for example, then this has several ingredients. Tomato paste, sugar, vinegar, salt, spices. Overall, not that bad for you. And I guess just one little thing I'll say is like regular ketchup, I would much rather you eat regular ketchup than sugar-free ketchup. Reason being, artificial sweeteners, anything that is sugar-free, where you're trying to save calories or eat as like low calorie as possible, can actually be making your health worse. I learned this the hard way when I was in that phase of my life, trying to eat as low calorie as possible, sugar-free this, sugar-free that, fat-free this. When they take something out of a product, they have to put something else in it to make it taste good. And when they say sugar-free ketchup, they actually add sucralose, which is an artificial sweetener, and that is very gut disrupting. So if you have digestive issues, even if you don't, if you are continually eating aspartame, sucralose, acesulfame K, acesulfame potassium, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. I always call it ACE K. It can actually make like little holes in your gut lining, which can lead to inflammation and actually have you be really sick, which is sad. And I remember another story. I remember a girlfriend who used to drink a ton of Diet Coke, like nonstop. And she actually ended up with digestive issues and she gained a lot of weight drinking Diet Coke because it's just empty calories and your body is still searching for nutrients and you're going to end up overeating other calorically dense foods. Anyways, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Hopefully you're still with me. But putting together meals, like having just ground beef cooked, this is so incredibly versatile. You can put this on nachos, sweet potato nachos, which are my fave. You can make burritos. You can make a burrito bowl. You could use this to add as a base to a chili, for example, or you could make a tomato meat sauce, add it to chickpea pasta or gluten-free pasta. Same thing with chicken. Like there's so many things that you can make with it. I love having this with like quinoa and veggies and some olive oil and balsamic for lunch. Also love making little wraps. I've got some wraps actually in my freezer, which brings me to frozen foods. And these are the wraps that I love to use. And I also have chickpea wraps because I stay away from gluten as much as I possibly can. But frozen foods, like do not shy away from frozen fruits. We love Costco for that reason. This is one of the most versatile proteins you can use because you can make a meal in 10 minutes with some shrimp. Also, frozen vegetables last way longer, so you're not going to waste as much. I don't know about you, but I have thrown away veggies that I just haven't used, that have sat in this produce drawer. So do not shy away from buying frozen vegetables. They are still good for you. Maybe not as good as fresh, but then again, it depends where that produce comes from because it could have traveled a ton of miles. Sauces that I like to use, Naked and Saucy. If you haven't discovered these, probably the best sauces you could use in terms of like ingredients. Very, very good ingredients. It uses cane sugar, so no artificial sweeteners, tomato, organic, yeah, it's all organic, chili flakes, organic onion, organic garlic. So yes, I do use condiments. I season my food like crazy. And that's a question that came up. Let me back myself up here. Came up last week in my free 5-day challenge was like, I just can't eat a lot of the same foods, or I get bored of eating a lot of the same foods. And I'll tell you, like, I don't get bored of the results that I have. And I think that it's a limiting belief that you have that healthy food is boring. We've been so skewed by what is put in our grocery stores. A lot of it's, I wouldn't even consider it food. Like if you're walking through the aisles, it is like processed, dare I say cardboard, some of it. If you are shopping the perimeter of the grocery store, you're doing fantastic. If you can read the ingredients on the back of the label, fantastic. If you stick to single ingredient foods 80 to 90% of the time, and then you allow yourself to have treats here and there, I think you are doing fantastic. And so with eating these foods, as I mentioned, if you think it's boring, if you think it's overwhelming, because I've heard these things, that's a limiting belief that you have. Healthy food does not have to be boring. It definitely does not have to be overwhelming. And if it's overwhelming, you're probably not taking the time to actually sit down and plan your meals. And if it's boring, changing up how you're cooking things, how you're putting it together, which foods with what is going to add some variety, but how you cook things, steaming, baking, frying, grilling, air frying, sauteing, pan frying. I'm sure there's a few more that I am missing, but you get my drift here. Different seasonings and flavors. Season your vegetables. Add butter and oils. Like that is completely okay. These healthy fats are great for you. So don't shy away from doing that. I think that's everything I wanted to touch on. So I guess to wrap things up when it comes to planning and prepping, if you are new to this and you're just like, whoo, this seems like a lot, I get it. I used to be there. Trust me, I didn't always prep my food. You learn how to put it together. Like I can prep my entire week in less than 2 hours and clean up as well. And it saves me like precious mental energy and time throughout the entire week. But if it's overwhelming to you, plan 2 days in advance. That's it. And if you don't like eating a lot of the same things, I get that. I cook for myself most of the time. Rob's away a lot, so I don't mind eating a lot of the same things. It works for me. I feel great. I know it works for my digestion. Cook double for supper, triple, quadruple. And trust me when I say that your family's probably going to start eating your prep food, which is not a bad thing, because I've heard that on several occasions from clients where they're like, oh my gosh, my kids are eating all my prep food, or my husband's eating my prep food. Like, that's a good thing. Your family will eat what you eat. And I'm saying this because this is another complaint that I hear. But I don't want to have to cook different meals for everybody. You shouldn't have to. What are you teaching your kids by giving them exactly what they want that's not necessarily nutrient dense? Like, you are 100% responsible, of course, for what goes into your body, but for also teaching your littles what healthy eating is all about. And it doesn't have to be complex. A protein, fiber, so vegetables, some type of color, healthy fats, probably, possibly, depending on the protein. And then what I call smart carbs. Rice. Nothing wrong with rice. Brown rice, white rice, black rice I've had. There's multigrain or, different types of rices. Different types of pastas. There's so many different protein pastas these days. You can for sure make your own mac and cheese by adding additional protein to it. And I guess I'm losing my train of thought here, but there's so many things that have come into my brain as I was doing this live that I think you just need to change your mindset to be successful. That planning, you can do it 2 days in advance, you can do it 3 days in advance, you can prep for the whole week depending on where you're at in your health journey. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day.